I can't honestly understand how she wasn't published earlier. Like, it is out of my comprehension how this woman has been rejected manual after manual, and they have rejected her because her writing is just, oh my god. Hello everyone, my name is Alfredo and welcome back to Wayfaring Reader. Now I know it has been ages since I've posted a video. I'm sorry. Life this November has been super busy for me. I've had like really big assignments I had to finish for college, but now that I'm majorly done with them, I can finally continue on with YouTube, so yay for that. In this video today, I bring you a very special review that is very close to my heart, and by the book you can already guess it. I'm going to be reviewing The Last Namsara. Now this is going to be a spoiler-free review. I just want to spread the love for this book because honestly, it has become one of my favorite fantasy books of all times. Kristen Ciccarelli has also become one of my favorite authors, like oh my god. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Now The Last Namsara is this high fantasy novel set in this land where there are dragons and storytelling is banned. You can be killed if you tell stories and the law will basically persecute you. And there are two reasons for that. The first one is that when you tell a story, you get poisoned by it, and two, it lures dangerous dragons and it allows them to breathe fire. Asha, our main protagonist, is the daughter of the king of this kingdom, and she is a dragon slayer, but she has a secret that nobody knows. In order to kill and find the dragons, she tells stories to lure them out. However, there's this very malicious and dangerous dragon called Kozu. Her mother used to tell her night stories to cure her of her night terrors. Doing so, her mother ended up poisoning herself. So Asha tells these stories with a deep shame, but there's something in her that keeps pushing her to tell these stories to lure these dragons out. Now Asha has to marry and is going to be married off to this general called Jarek. Now Jarek is this really bad and awful person, and she does not want to marry him. So she strikes a deal with her father. If she manages to hunt Kozu down and bring him his head before the wedding, he will call off the engagement. And so Asha embarks on this kind of race against time to hunt this dragon down. Now, let me tell you, this book was just mind-blowingly amazing. I can't even. Asha was such a fierce main character. I loved her so much. I loved seeing how her strong convictions got questioned once and again because her kingdom has enslaved other races, and that is also a very overarching theme along the book. Slavery, what is right, what is wrong, what is the truth, what are the lies. And so with all these questions, Asha starts to unravel secrets from the past to truly understand the risks of dragons and telling stories, and it's very interesting. Soon she meets the slave Torsin, and her beliefs start to be questioned. She starts to question herself. What is right? What is wrong? I loved how, again, at the beginning of the book, Asha is set with these very firm ideals, which aren't the best, honestly. And I was very nervous about this. I was reading this and I was like, okay, Kristen Ciccarelli has decided to include slavery in this book, but how is she going to treat it? Is she going to challenge the idea? Is she going to just gloss over it? And that made me very nervous. But the fact that Asha being defensive of slavery because her father and her ancestors were responsible for it, and then kind of seeing her evolve towards this other kind of convictions of questioning herself and questioning what she believes, what she has been taught. The characters are on point. Jarek was terrifying. He is such a misogynistic pig that I couldn't even. I was just like, this guy needs to be defeated. Come on, please. Who is going to defeat him and kick his ass? Because I couldn't even. The aspect of the dragons and the storytelling was just so cool because the book, it balances out kind of Asha's story with these darkened pages, which are stories she has told. And it's really interesting how the stories she tells aren't really fictional, but they're history. Her history of her ancestors, stories that entails that to them are kind of legends to be aware of. So it's kind of interesting how in this world they don't make up these stories, but rather the stories they are forbidden of telling are their own stories, their own experiences, and I love that aspect of it. It was just so interesting, and that mixed up with the dragon, and just, are the dragons good? Are they evil? Why do they breathe fire when years before they were the friends of these people and they collaborated? What made them turn against these people and against this kingdom? You were just doubting everything at one point. You didn't know what was truth, you didn't know what was a lie. The tension was just on point. This book takes place in like very few days, or weeks. Yeah, I would say weeks, not days. And there's a romance that builds itself from the beginning towards the end, but it doesn't feel rushed, because even if it takes place during such a short amount of time, you really get to see the characters kind of challenge themselves, and that's something I really love with the two, with Asha and her love interest, which I don't want to mention right now, but they kind of challenge themselves to see things other ways, to change their perspectives and learn from other cultures, and I loved it so much. There was also a kind of a political criticism towards racism and xenophobic attitudes, but also towards leaders, corrupted leaders that have kind of this bigoted attitude with ideas that only push people towards worse situations, and I just loved that so much. The only kind of criticism I would establish for this book are two things. The fact that three things. The fact that there isn't a map. I was so angry. I thought there was going to be a map. There wasn't. Why isn't there a map for the next book? We need a map. Second, the fact that there isn't a glossary, and this is actually serious. You kind of get new terms, and since you fly through the book so quickly because you truly fly through it, I feel like having a glossary at the end with certain terms and their explanations just to refresh your mind from time to time would be on point. And third of all, the history. This wasn't info dumpy, this book. So what you get to learn, you learn in bits and pieces, and you have to kind of put it in. It's as if it were a big puzzle, and you kind of start fitting in the pieces, especially because you don't know what's true and what's not. So the history of it, since you got bits and pieces woven in throughout the chapters, sometimes it was kind of confusing. So I do feel that there should be a kind of timeline at the end, or it should be better explained. By the end of the book, I did get a very general idea of what had happened in the past and why in the present they were living kind of those consequences, but I do still feel like it would have been better if that history would have been either kind of laid out at the end of the book with a timeline, or in a certain moment kind of recapped everything that had happened. I do feel that would have been a very positive point. Aside from that, it was such an amazing story. Kristen Ciccarelli's writing is just, oh my god, phenomenal. It's a 5-star read for me. Again, this has become one of my favorite fantasy novels of all time. 5 out of 5 stars for characters, 5 out of 5 stars for originality. The world building, since I do include in that kind of pack the history, I would give a 4 stars, because in the beginning and throughout it was kind of a bit confusing and I didn't remember everything, which I don't know right now if it was my fault or not, but I do feel I should have remembered everything a little bit better. So overall this book was just phenomenal, and writing 5 out of 5 stars. I am so excited to read the other 2 books. I'm kind of a bit disappointed that we're not going to get Asha as our main character. Each book is going to have a different main character, because Kristen Ciccarelli has said and stated that she doesn't like to make readers wait to see the end of the story. She wants every book to be kind of wrapped up in and of itself with a character, but however the thread among all of them, because the characters do overlap and interlace, the thread in all of them is the world, because at the end of this book it is kind of the end of Asha's story, even though we will see her in the next books. But the kind of situation of this world has imploded and there is a lot to do. So that was all for this video today. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please leave me down in the comments if you've read The Last Namsara and what you thought of it. Also, I've got a little piece of news. I have created a new Twitter and new Instagram page just dedicated to kind of books and talking about books. I will be linking them down below. I've already started using the Instagram. It's at Wayfaring Books because I couldn't. Wayfaring Reader wasn't available, but it's at Wayfaring Books. It is just a Bookstagram page where I post photos of books. So if you kind of enjoy seeing that on your feed, please go and follow me. Also follow me on Goodreads. I hope you've enjoyed this video and have a great day.